All right, guys, I'm sitting here with no one at work. I kind of just thought that everything with College Uncles is obviously kind of the message is to be helpful, obviously, to those in their 20s and get the word out about those conversations that aren't had as frequently. But at the same time, I feel like there's kind of a gap for at least the people that are already following it. It's like, okay, so really, why did this come to be? Like, I've done the intro about why I created it, but what made me kind of how I am that sparked this type of desire to create a podcast like this. So that's why I'm kind of sitting here talking to you guys right now. Is kind of taking you through my timeline to give you guys more of an understanding of how I am, why I am, and basically why this came to be. So kind of to take this like I do things chronologically. So just to kind of put this in perspective, I guess the easiest place to start was I remember like first time. So I was actually did Montessori school growing up. I was homeschooled for probably 3 or 4 years, which is kind of surprising to some people, but enabled me to take more time to play hockey. And obviously, I was not in the normal social setting, given that kind of a blessing that I missed the middle school social setting. But ended up going to public school in eighth grade. I did start in seventh grade, never finished the year. I just couldn't do the social part. It's just too much for me. So I was ended up being homeschooled the second half of my seventh grade year, and then came back in eighth grade. And I was the shy kid. Like in middle school, everyone used to like hug, and I would never touch anybody. Like I just was like, no, like get out of my face. This isn't my no. Like people would hold hands to go to class and all that stuff. That wasn't for me. Like I don't know. I just didn't like it. But growing up, hockey was my whole life. Like it's something I was passionate about. Like I think the first time I started skating, I was like 8, but I had played street hockey like from when I was 5 till then, and then started playing travel hockey when I was about 11, and then did that. Met some of obviously my best friends, people I keep up till this day, are all my hockey friends, and that hasn't changed. I don't think that's going to change. I'm going to be 23 this week, so it's some things aren't ever going to change, and those guys are very just instrumental in my life, and obviously like I said, some of my best friends that motivate me, that they always have my back, and so that's kind of how I've always treated people, is how the hockey community treated me, which was with the utmost respect. Didn't matter if you were good, bad, whatever. Like, unless you gave someone a reason to chirp you were pretty respected around there. But so like I said, hockey was my passion. That's something I did my whole life. Like obviously, like everybody else, I wanted to go to the NHL, play pro hockey, and just do the whole thing, live the life, like go to the show. But life had other plans for me. So I was actually going to go to prep school in Lake Placid, New York, my freshman year or my sophomore year of high school, but I would have reclassed and been a freshman again. I was set to leave in April of 2012 or 2013. I believe it was 2013. Those who know me well from the hockey community understand I've suffered with concussion issues, and that's something that I don't really like bringing up. If you're ever like, you guys know I can talk shit and like everybody else, but the second that comes up, I'm silent. I don't like talking about it. It's a soft topic, and obviously a little bit less soft now because I'm here talking about it. But mine. So I'm just gonna take you guys into literally the worst day of my life, and it was February 16th, 2013, and we're a game away from going to nationals. I was on a team with all my best friends, a lot of good friends from school. Finally seemed like I was going somewhere. I was finally starting to hit that like. I was getting better. I was finally playing. I was scoring. Like everything that I'd been wanting to do for my whole life is starting to come in motion. Like, oh, I'm gonna go to prep school. That's the next step. Like, obviously, like the chance of you making the show is small, but you just want to make that next step, make that next jump. But oh, it gives me chills talking about it. But so second to last game of the year, 3 minutes left in third period. I had like a goal and assist. I was playing third line. One of my buddies dumps the puck in, goes between my skates. I go to play it, miss it, goes in. I pick my head up around the blue line, and then, bang. Woke up in the hospital. Like, fuck. Woke up in the hospital to my gear getting cut off of me. My helmet had been taken apart by the screws because they thought I broke my neck. I was completely unconscious, and my legs were not moving. I couldn't feel anything. Obviously, I was laying on ice, which didn't help. They did all the tests to see if my nerves were reacting on the ice. Nothing. So that's kind of the day my life changed. Dealt with post-concussive symptoms for 6 months, whether it be mood swings, memory loss. It just wasn't a good time. It really like just wasn't good. But post-concussive symptoms are something that obviously are more studied now and more understood now. But when I was cleared to play 2 weeks after that. But the doctors, I went to actually UNC, their breakthrough, like the pioneer concussion clinic in the country was actually at UNC. The doctor was from Quebec. And he goes in there, and my dad was already teared up before I got in there because he talked to my parents before me. I walk in there, and I'm like, oh, God, this isn't good. And he goes, you can't play competitive hockey anymore. Like, if you get another hit, you could have the chance of dying. And it's called, it's like secondary concussive syndrome. And there's actually a kid in North Carolina, there's a law about it, and that's why concussion protocol is a thing. It's because of the kid. His name's Sean something, I can't remember what it is. But played football in North Carolina, got 2 concussions in the same week, and just didn't wake up from the second one. So that was the biggest eye-opening, like, awakening experience for me in my life. But that also was the day that I learned my own optimism and how to approach life with an open mindset. So as much as my entire goal, like every goal I had, every aspiration I had, every motivator I had was now gone. My life revolved around hockey. I watched hockey every day. It taunted me. I'd get to see my friends playing. I got to see my little brother playing. I got to hear about how everyone was doing. The next year, the team I was supposed to be on went and won the national tournament. Right? How do you think that feels? The team that I was on the year before, watched them lose by a goal to the team that ended up winning nationals as a 14, 15-year-old. How do you take that, you know? But took it as, it's life. You got to roll with it. It's not going to change. So like I said earlier, I was cleared 2 weeks later. So it just so happens February, right? It's a spring season for high school. I was a freshman in high school at the time, and I had my own identity crisis. I'm like, all right, who am I? I practiced 4 days a week. I was gone every weekend. I didn't have a social life. I really wasn't friends with anybody that, at school. So thankfully, I had some friends that took me under their wing. That were like my group of friends, I guess, in high school. They're all lacrosse guys, and I had actually tried to play lacrosse once or twice before. And I remember I played for 2 weeks on like a rec team, and I vowed that I would never play again. It was just like I hated the culture. I didn't like the people. It wasn't my friends I was playing with. I was playing like with random kids, and it was just like a bunch of country club prep kids, and I didn't get along with them. They were like, I don't know, it just wasn't me. So time goes on. I ended up making the JV team, and thank God that hockey and lacrosse kind of have there's some transferable skills there. And you guys might be sitting there asking, how the hell can this guy play lacrosse and not play hockey? Think about the speed in hockey. If you get hit in hockey, you're wearing a lot less padding on your head. Most of the contact to your head in lacrosse is from a stick. Usually in hockey, you can skate. There's kids that can skate up to 20 miles an hour, and you're going the opposite direction. Think about the force, and you're only hitting rock hard ice or you're hitting boards. Lacrosse, you're hitting grass, and there's no boards, and there's a lot less hits. But anyway, I was like, well, I guess this is what we're doing, and I kind of opened myself up to create a new passion for myself. And originally, I didn't think about playing lacrosse in college. I was just like, I played to pass the time. I played to stay in shape. It was something to do. And at that time, was able to just kind of go through the ranks, ended up making varsity my sophomore year, which I didn't expect to do at all. I was playing inline hockey on the side, which is non-contact, and I was also doing pretty well at that as well. So yeah, going through sophomore year, junior year comes around. I had played summer ball that summer. I was on the lower team, got pulled up to the upper team, and just never played. Kind of had that same type of feeling like I did when I grew up playing rec, and it wasn't for me. And I was kind of like, hitting with that identity crisis. All right, junior in high school, you're applying to college. You got to figure out if you're going to play sports or not. I've always been a competitor. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was just so lost and so confused. And, honestly, credit to my girlfriend at the time. Helped me out so much with that stuff just because, she was there for me. She had a good family that would also kind of take me in when I would get into it with my family. And at the same time, let's fast forward a little bit to that summer going into my senior year. I remember the day I changed. I'm like, I'm going 100% with whatever I do. And doesn't matter what it is, everything will work itself out. And that kind of is that peak of that optimistic attitude I was telling you guys about where, life's too big to plan everything out. And you got to think about, this is something I learned in a Malcolm Gladwell book that I did my senior anthology on, was you have to realize the arena you're in. And you have to realize that whenever a door closes on a hinge, right? imagine that hinge going all the way around. If a door closes, it's opening on the other side. And that's something that kind of spoke to me, because at first it didn't make any fucking sense. I was like, what the fuck's this guy talking about? The door closes, you can't go through, that's it. But when that door closes, it opens your mind up to something else. So that summer, I ended up going on a few college visits for lacrosse, nothing crazy. Like, I loved being with my team, I loved playing with my friends, like, that was fun and all. But senior year comes around, never thought I'd play, never really thought I'd find, like, a school that would want me, never thought I'd be good enough to play. And then it just happened. I just changed my mind. I was like, you know what, like, I'm tired of feeling sorry for myself. Like, yeah, you had a dream, didn't work out. You're not the first person it's ever happened to. There's been millions of kids that have had their dreams crushed, shattered, and things that they can't control. Going into my, that senior year, lacrosse ended up being the best thing that ever happened to me, because I didn't really love it at first, but it taught me to be who I am now. And that's somebody that can mold to any situation, be optimistic in the worst of times, and just compete. And so ended up going to Queens, right? And then got there, and like I've talked about Coach Killen enough times, one of the first things that he'd always would say was control what you can control. I'll talk about that in the last podcast. I'll talk about it again. But he kind of put the work ethic piece into my life, where it was like, if you don't want to be there, the worst thing that can happen is you do something right. Because if you're in your mind, you already don't want to be there. So the worst thing you can do is give it your all, and something good happens. That's something my dad used to tell me, even when I used to not want to go to hockey or lacrosse or any practice. Could have been t-ball. He goes, all right, you already don't want to be there. What's the worst thing that can happen? And again, that was something that I didn't really register with me at a young age, but kind of ended up showing back up in my life. So long story short, obviously most of you guys know me as my college age, so I'm not really going to go into that too much. But if you guys take anything from this, it's even if you have a dream, it's not that you have to give up on that dream. It means your dream can reshape. So what I mean by that is seeing how like awful I felt, and how just crying yourself to sleep every night, like seeing your friends just do what you wish you could do, but you never know what God's got planned for you. And I don't know if I'm not going to bring this into a super religious sphere, but you can always change your mind, and you always have the time to create a new standpoint and create a new optimism in your life. And that's something that anybody can do. Like, look at an example, there's my father's done it. Like, he's had a lot of things happen to him that have not been the best, and he's obviously completely reinvented himself at 50 years old. Completely different guy, all positive all the time, from somebody that obviously had some things going on. And actually something I kind of looked over was while this is all going on, and kind of what I meant to say earlier about how lacrosse saved me. So my parents kind of started getting on the rocks my sophomore year of high school, and that's something I credit my girlfriend at the time for helping me out with. Their family kind of took me in, because not that my house was a bad place to be, but it's just I'm the oldest son, so I would just kind of break up arguments, had to grow up fast when I realized why my parents were fighting. It was just nothing bad, nothing crazy, nothing adulterous, nothing like that, but just seeing your own, the two people you look up to your entire life not be, not that they're not role models, but just seeing that they have vices. And that reality as a 14, 15-year-old was kind of weird to me. I was like, dude, hold on. And then having a brother that's 4 years younger than me, imagine being an 11 or 12-year-old seeing that happen. I can't imagine. So, look, my brother played hockey, like I said. The year I was deemed medically ineligible, he stopped playing as well. And he was lights out. Could have gone somewhere, was head and shoulders better than the kids his age, always played on the top teams, and but he didn't have his brother to train with anymore, because we used to do everything together. And I never realized that, because as your little brother that's 4 years younger than you, you guys want to beat the shit out of each other 90% of your life. But it's competitive, and that's what I didn't realize. So he ends up picking up lacrosse, and something that he kind of did on the side, and obviously it brought us together. And that's something that I didn't realize at the time. And sometimes just to look back and realize that there was a plan for you that you didn't even realize. Because I'm happy where I'm at now. I'm playing lacrosse in college for a 5th year. Usually if you don't want to play, you're done after 4. But I've met so many amazing people. I feel like I'm where I need to be. I'm surrounded by so many people. I have the opportunity to do something like this for you guys. I was the shy kid that wouldn't like talk to people for the longest time. I was just I was so like insecure and was all worried about what people thought about me and just all those things. But take adversity straight on and realize that there's two sides to everything, and it's so easy to focus on the negative. It's so easy. It's just, but it's hard to turn it into a positive. And that's the challenge I take for you guys, because it can literally it can change your life, and that's the it's something I've experienced, and it happens more than once. Like, it happened when I lost my dream. I lost my identity. I lost my entire life that I wanted. But what it fixed was it fixed my relationship with my brother. It ended up giving me a great relationship with both my parents on a individual level. Like, when that happened, don't get me wrong, like, divorce is a tough thing, and a lot of people have dealt with it and had a lot worse scenarios than I have. And I'm not trying to act like I'm having a pity party over here, but it gave me the opportunity to grow up fast. So my parents divorced, I had to come home and cook for myself and my brother a lot. My dad had to work extra hours. We weren't as financially well off as we were before. Those are all negative things. I was able to, so I can twist that. I was able to grow up fast. I was able to hang out with more with my brother and train and get to know him. I was able to help my mom out as not a peer, but talk to my mom as if we were both like on the same playing field rather than just being told what to do. I was able to help inspire my dad to continue to keep going, and also just teach him things that I've learned in school to help him with his job. And we got to be even closer, and he opened up to me on things that I would have never heard if that didn't happen. So if I'd kind of challenge you guys to do one thing, is to take any type of adversity and twist it into a positive, no matter what it is. Because obviously, there's always going to be somebody that has it worse than you. There's always going to be someone that has it better than you. It's not about the competition, and it's not about comparing yourself to others. But the one thing is that if I can say anything, especially that this podcast has taught me, I've only been doing it for like a month or so, and I'm not going to get into why I thought I would never do this, but who gives a fuck what people think? Like, kidding me? If they judge you and they don't like what you do, all right, it helps you narrow down your circle. You don't need to have 2,000 friends. You don't need to have 700 likes. You just want to feel like you're comfortable in your own skin and your own circle. And that's kind of why I wanted to get down and talk about this, because you've seen things on my social media. I mean, I like making people laugh. I like being the funny guy. Obviously, I like being in the middle of the circle. I like being in the attention. I like being in the spotlight now. But at the same time, I don't want to do that if the purpose isn't right. And I feel like I have an opportunity here to deliver at least my experiences, and at least the positive ones, to maybe inspire or help anybody that is at a crossroads or needs to hear this, or just kind of is having some trouble with their identity. Because that happens to multiple people that I at least have been encountered with. It's just all the time. So I appreciate you guys tuning into this. Obviously got a little long, but let me know what you think. Seriously, I want this to be more, of a community than just me sitting up here like a stand-up comic. Like, I love hearing from you guys. I love the support. Seriously, like, this is like, obviously it seems pretty small on the scale to you guys, but like, just being able to do things and having this opportunity to talk on a platform, it's helped me in ways that I can't even explain. Just being able to be myself, and that's what anybody wants to do at the end of the day, is do something that has purpose and feel comfortable in their own skin. So I can't thank you guys enough. So thanks for tuning in.